Good night. Hey everyone doing? My name is Irma J, the creator of the world. How y'all doing tonight? I'm here to give you a little short news. And some of it gonna just be on the update. So I will talk to you about the Title 42 policy. Um I refer Title 42 to remain. I want Title 42 to remain. So if DHS or anyone else have questions they need to ask me about, my email will be down below. So it'll be more convenient for Title 42 to stay, to remain. So I refer for Title 42 to remain. And my email will be down below for any questions. Now I have updates. I talked about safety of the school 2 days ago. Okay, so it's just a little update. So I spoke to y'all 2 days ago about the safety of the school. And we talked about the armed security and the unarmed security. Okay, so I had referred the unarmed security to be inside the building. Patrol every hour, monitor and make sure they have no activity or anything suspicious or strange going on with the school. Because sometimes they fight in the hallway and stuff. So that's what the inside security for. So we don't want our own security inside the school because we do have teenagers that may grab their gun off their side. So we have the armed security will be outside monitoring the outside, make sure no activity come inside the school. But, so what I'm stating that if any school have any question about security, because I'm also a security officer also, so if you have any question about how to get security officers there, you can email. My email will be down below, and you can email me if you have any questions about proceeding in any of these security offices, and make sure we don't need our own security inside the school. I'm just trying to create something to be best for these kids because we create a school for the children to learn, and things hadn't changed. Why, they have so much violence inside the school, so we talked about Title 42 policy. I wanted to remain. And an update on the school for security. If you have any questions, my email will be down below. Okay, so that's all the news I have for you tonight. And I also have a word. I have a word from God. A word from God. The title gonna be Jacob, Vision of a Lie. You know. So this, you remember Jacob's story. Jacob's story will lead to his dream of a lie. So you remember Jacob stole his brother Esau blessing. Okay, and Bathsheba. So when his mom, when he saw Esau blessing, because Abraham wanted to bless Esau, but he wound up and blessed Jacob. So then Esau was enraged. He was just so mad. So he wanted to kill his brother. So the mama heard him telling his daddy that he wanted to hurt Jacob. So the mama told Jacob to go flee by her brother's house. So at this point, Abraham had died. And so that means Jacob is on his journey, gone by his brother. So so while he on his journey, that's when he gonna start dreaming about this ladder. Okay, so the story of Jacob ladder refer to a dream in which Jacob sees a ladder stretched from heaven to earth. Now when he found a certain spot. He had set out. So when he reached to a certain place, he took a stone and he placed it underneath him to get comfortable, and he laid down. Remember, he on a journey, so he walking, so he had to sit down and take him a little nap. So as he taking him a nap, he dreaming. He's seeing this ladder stretch from heaven all the way down to earth. So the dream not only represent the connection between God. Now, as he's seeing this ladder, he will have a connection with God. So God and a man. So it also affirmed that Jacob, as the father of God, chosen people, the Israelite. Now, God made a promise to Abraham, but Abraham never lived long enough he lived long enough, but he never had received the kind of blessing. He was blessed, but he never received everything that God said he was going to get to. So Jacob come in place, and the Israelite, all that come from Abraham, so they all going to be blessed, so now Jacob, Jacob loved Bathsheba, and he went towards Haran. And he came to a certain place and he stayed there that night. He stayed there that night. And because the sun was set, and he took one of the stones and placed it underneath his head. That's why he laid down. He laid down and went to sleep. So he dreamed. And he dreamed, behold, that there was a ladder set up on earth, and top of it reached to heaven. So now sometimes the dream, sometimes we can dream. Because at first I thought, I'm like, he a vision of a ladder, but you have to really do research and really get into, because sometimes we can dream, and sometimes our dream can be weird. You could wake up like, wow, I dream of that. So he dreaming of a ladder, but he seen a ladder coming from heaven all the way down to earth. So now sometimes we can lie down and dream weird things. But Jacob dreamed about a ladder from heaven to earth, and he had a connection with God. So he saw the angels coming down the ladder. He also saw God at the top. And so God started talking to him. So God told him, the land on which you lie. He remember he lying down. Now the land that he lying down, I will give to you into your seed. Talking about his children. Jacob had a lot of children. Your seed should be like the dust of the earth, and you should spread about the earth. His family in the earth, the earth will be blessed. So he said everybody on earth gonna be blessed. His family gonna be blessed. Because you remember, he blessed Abraham. He said, Abraham, you're gonna be a great nation. That I'm gonna bless you. I'm gonna bless the nation. I'm gonna bless your family. I'm gonna bless everything. So he telling these things to Jacob. So God will keep him. God will keep him wherever he goes. And he will bring you back to this land. Now, he talked about the Israelites. Jacob already in Canaan. He was already in the land. That's why he said, the land that you lying down in, that's a land I'm going to bless you in. So you remember they already was living in Canaan. And remember they had family in Canaan where they had to go to Egypt where Joseph was at. Remember they dumped Joseph in the pit, but Joseph wound up living in Egypt. That's why he said, the ground that you lying on, you're gonna leave, but you're gonna come back. So once they left the land with the family, they had to go to Egypt to get food, but then they wind up and got stuck there. Remember, they was enslaved. Jacob died there. But but Joseph took them back to Canaan to bury him, and they had to go back to Egypt. But they wind up got stuck there because they wind up being a slave. So that's why God said, you're going to leave this land, but you're going to come back. So he told them that you're going to multiply. You're going to multiply to a nation. Because that's what he told Jacob. Tell your family, your children, to go and multiply. And that's what they did. They're going to be a great nation. It was thousands of the Israelites. They did just what God told them to do, to go on multiply. I will not leave you until my promise is done. See, when God make a promise to you, He ain't gonna stop until his promise is done. He said, I will never leave you until I have done what I had promised you. Now all this stuff he telling Jacob, he gonna be with Jacob wherever he go until his promise is fulfilled. That's what he telling Jacob. But Jacob gonna wind up dying. Then Joseph gonna wind up dying. So that's why he took a light in the Israelite, because all that's a seed of Abraham. So that's why he told him, you're gonna leave this land, but you're gonna come back to this land where I'm gonna bless you at. So Jacob woke up, and surely the Lord is in this place. So he woke up and he said, ain't nobody but the Lord was in this place. Now he was afraid. He was afraid because remember, he had a connection with God. He dreaming, but he had a connection with God. So that he put under his head, he put a rock under his head and went to sleep. He used that as a pillar. And he saw that God put Earl on top of it. He said God took that stone that he made as a pillar and put Earl on top of it. And he called that name the place of Bethel. And when he first got there, the city was on Luz, Luz. It was that at first. So Jacob's life changed after he had the encounter with God. He had a connection with God. You know, he saw that lamp, and he saw God standing on top of that lamp. And God saw talking to him and telling him what gonna happen. See the Israelite, God already knew that path. He already knew what gonna happen. He just explained this to Jacob. He said, the land you in, you're gonna leave that land, but you're gonna come back because that's the land I'm gonna bless you in. But that he wind up didn't make it. Joseph wind up didn't make it. But the Israelites, they made it. They ain't made it all the way there. They got halfway there, and God had to let the other generation make it to the promised land. But he said the land you lying in, that's the land I'm gonna bless you in. But you're gonna leave, but you're gonna come back. So he was talking about the Israelites. So Jacob woke up from that dream, and his life had changed because he had an encounter with God. Something he probably never had, because he did so much terrible things. He stole from Esau one time, twice, his birthright and his blessing. So prior to Jacob's dream, the man who would become the father of a nation of Israel was on the run from his twin brother Esau. That's what I just said. He did something terrible. But God made him a father of the nation. That's what he was explaining to him. You're gonna be the father of this nation. So he was giving the instructions. And he already explained that to Abraham. So God already knew this was gonna happen with the Israelites, and they wind up and made history. See, God make a plan out. He already know the beginning to the end of how everything gonna play out. So now we see that Jacob had an encounter with God. God said he will bless. He will bless him in the land that he lying in, and his seed, and the whole earth. Because Abraham was blessed, and everybody else that was around him was blessed. So he should spread. He had told him, he said, God had told him, your family gonna spread the seed all over. He was talking about the Israelites. Remember, he told Jacob when they were going to east of Egypt, he told them, make sure your family multiply, because they're gonna be a great nation. And they did just that, what God told them to do. So his family on earth was blessed. You will go, but you will come back. And that's just how the story was with the Israelites. Jacob left Egypt. His family went to, he left Canada and went to Egypt, and it turned out to be a slave. Got stuck there for 430 years. So the story sounds like Jacob was already in camp, but they will have famine in that land. So that's why God said, you're going to leave this land, but you're going to come back. So he sent his boys to Egypt to get food. But Jacob wound up and died in Egypt. And then um he sent his boys there, and they multiplied, and it turned out to be a great nation. So the boys got stuck there because they started having family in Egypt. They stuck there, and they sold themselves as slaves, and the supposed to been temporary, and wind up being slaves for 430 years. So they become the Israelite, a great nation. So that's how the Israelite become to be the Israelite. So remember, God said they would go, he would go, but he would come back. It took them 430 years to come back to their land, but they came back to their land. But they returned back to Canada after 430 years. They was blessed, and that's what God said. You know, this whatever what God had told Jacob, it came to pass. They had to leave the land, with family, and they had to go to Egypt. And he, just like he had told Jacob, he said, your family will spread the sea. And that's what God had told Jacob down the line. You know, he had told him to tell your family, your boys, to multiply. And that's what he had told Jacob years ago. He told him that a long time ago when he saw that lie. He told him, so God writing out a plan for our life. So he already knows the beginning to the end. He already know how the end gonna end. Sometimes it might take a long time, sometimes it might take a short time. Look at the Israelite, 430 years, but God plans to see. It came to pass. So I will be with you. He told Jacob a while back. He said, when he saw that loud, he said, I will be with you wherever you go. I will make a promise, so I will never leave you. Because see, when God make a promise, he never gonna leave you. Because that battle is God battle. And if he make a promise and he wrote out a plan for your life and told you how it gonna be, that's just how it gonna be. And he gonna stick with you until that whole plan succeed. Until the whole plan come together. So the story about the ladder of God, Jacob having an encounter with God. When God explains to him what gonna happen, that your family gonna be the Israelite. They're gonna be a great nation. And sure enough, it was thousands of the Israelites. So they had multiplied. They had multiplied. Because God was giving them, Canaanite was giving them the whole land. So they needed to be thousands of people to be a great nation. So Jacob, he thought he did something wrong, and he thought God was gonna come after, because he already was on the run, and he had to take a time out to take him a little nap, and wind up seeing a ladder. First he saw the angel coming down, then he saw God at the top, and God started talking to him, and God started laying out the whole plan that did come to pass as history. He said, "You gonna the land." He said, "This land that you laying on, I'm going to bless you in this land. You're going to leave this land, but you're going to come back. And also your family will spread to sea all over to be a great nation." So I hope y'all enjoy this word. I hope you enjoy the news. We talk about the Title-42 policy will remain, and the safety of the school, because unowned security and owned security. And we talk about Jacob's vision of a ladder that God had given him a plan of how it gonna play out with the Israelite, and everything came to pass. And Israelite, they wind up become history. They had to tear walls down to get back into their land. It was already their land. But they was in slavery all that long time. They had to fight to get it back. They had to tear down walls and everything else. Remember, I preached on that weeks ago. They had to tear down walls to get their own land back. They had to fight to get what already belongs to them. They had to fight to get it back. They had to fight to get their land back. They had to tear down walls to get their land back. So sometimes God gonna promise something to you, and sometimes it may not be easy. Sometimes you might have to tear down stuff. You might have to tear down some walls. You might have to fight to get to the promised land. The Israelites went through a whole lot to get to their land, but they got to it. They got to it. And it's so big. So that's why they had needed to be thousands of Israelites to be a great nation. So I hope y'all have a blessed night. And I'll see y'all on the next video.